Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to episode 3 of Ramadan Real Talk. I can't believe we're at episode 3 already, Janae. I can't believe it. You're muted, Janae.
Assalamu alaikum. Oh my goodness, week 3 already. I can't believe it.
It is week 3 already, believe it or not. It's like, man, time is flying, but it's good. So, tonight's topic is Ramadan do's and don'ts, what you should and should not say. But before we get into that, I am Jamila, aka the IEP Coach. I am the founder and CEO of the IEP Coach LLC. We are an education consulting company and we specialize in providing professional development and coaching to special education teams, teachers, and paraprofessionals so they can thrive in their roles and not just survive. Take it away, my dear sister.
And I am Mentor Teacher League of the Mentor Teacher League. We support teachers in years 1 to 5 with intense coaching in those first 2 years to make sure that you feel like the expert of the classroom. And then in years 3 to 5, we work with mentorship. Our mentors and coaches have over 30 years of experience with classroom experience, K to 12. And so we hope to bridge the gap with those people who still really love education, but just need an extra push, that extra mentoring as things are ever changing in the classroom. You need a coach or a mentor. We are here for you.
All right, awesome, awesome. Now, as you guys are coming in, let us know where you are tuning in from. Put it in the comments. Don't be shy. After our content and everything, we always have time for questions. So definitely drop your questions as they come to you. Feel free to go ahead and drop them in the comments because we know sometimes it takes time for you to type out your questions, especially if you're on your phone. Okay, so put your questions in the comments section. So again, and also share out this live. Share out this live with whether you're a Muslim or you're not a Muslim. You got Muslims at your job, you got Muslims at your school. Share this out with your colleagues, your admin. Share this live out because how can you best support your workplace, your staff, or your students if you don't know that Ramadan is coming up? How can you support them? So share out this live so that way you can get information. So that way you can support your students, you can support your staff. So go ahead and share out this live. And as we're telling you to share it out, we are sharing it out as well. So share out the live, share out the live.
Share it out. So we got some love on Instagram saying that Philly is in the house.
Okay.
We know Philly is.
Yes, I said of course.
Yeah, we definitely got some Muslims in Philadelphia. So and some dope educators. So we know the day in the building for sure. So thank you for tuning in.
Right. So go ahead. I am sharing out this live as well.
Yep, sharing it out.
Yes, so share it out. Hold on. I am sharing it out too.
Make sure everybody.
All right. Yes. So make sure you all are in. You're in. Share it. It's funny how sometimes when you're on your phone, you go to type someone's name, but then it don't come up, but it is in your contacts. It's weird.
You know it's there.
It is so weird.
I know this person is there for sure.
Right. I'm like, wait a second, did I type it wrong? But yes, all right. Sister Janae, how about you start us off this week?
Oh my goodness. So tonight's episode, we are going to focus on what to do and what not to do. What not to do when interacting with your Muslim colleagues or students and friends during Ramadan. And we'll just address the common misconceptions and those awkward moments that happen and the practical ways to just be a respectful ally, just respectfully.
Yes, because I'll say, sister, and I know if you guys have seen the content we put out some reels. Listen, that has happened to us. It has happened to people we know. It has happened to us. You know, so we you see us laughing, but we can laugh at it now. But it's annoying because some of these questions, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Some of these questions are dumb. Like, really, you think we don't eat at all? Like, come on, no. So we was like, we have to have an episode dedicated to the do's and don'ts of Ramadan, things you should and should not say, and you should not do, things you should not do. So have you ever been unsure about what to say around people who are fasting during Ramadan? Have any of you? You could put it in the comments. Yes, no. Have you ever felt unsure of what to say? All right. Wa alaikum assalam, Nashia 8719. All right. Anybody ever felt unsure about what they should do when supporting? You could be around someone who is fasting and you're not sure, like, well, what do I do? What do I say? Has anybody ever been like unsure about that? And it's okay, don't be scared. You don't be like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't want to answer,
No,
but
but
it's
this is why
okay.
we're here, right? To
Yeah.
have those real conversations because it happens. It
Okay.
definitely happens.
All right. So we're not gonna focus on don't do yet. We're gonna do a little transition. Let's start with key things you should do when you're
Yes.
supporting fasting students, a colleague, or your friends. What do you guys think you should do if you have a friend who is fasting, and it's Ramadan and they are fasting? What do you think you should do? And y'all know y'all be talking all on IG, all this, you
Well,
be just be
because
wrapping it up.
it's in front of folks now, so now we want to get quiet.
Right. You be reapping it up. So what do you think you should do? I can tell you right now, you can say something that you should do is you can ask him, like, oh, well, what is Ramadan? Oh, how do you fast? Because everyone doesn't fast the same way. You have people of different faiths. They fast differently than Muslims fast during Ramadan. So it's something that a simple question could be, oh, what is Ramadan? Oh,
Yes.
how do you fast? Those are two safe questions and respectable questions that you can ask someone, because then it's like, oh, Ramadan it shows that you show some interest in me and what
Yes.
I'm doing. And then it shows that, hey, you want to learn about how I fast. How am I fasting? What do I do? What is the routine and things like that? So those are two safe questions right there that you can ask a
Say the
Muslim
word
who is
safe.
fasting.
Keep it safe. Keep it
Those are
safe.
two safe questions that you can ask someone who is fasting. Okay? Those are very safe
Yes.
questions.
And similarly, just like really asking like those things of like, hey, how do I greet you? How do I say, what do I say? Happy Ramadan? What do I say? You know, Ramadan Mubarak? Like really acknowledging that it is an exciting time and this, how do you communicate, right? And that's just it will go a long way. Just learning that will go a long way. And it gives the opportunity for people to acknowledge and, be have the feeling that like, oh, you're tuned into what I'm doing and you see me, right? Like I recognize what you're doing in this space.
Absolutely. So like what Sister Janae said, just how during the holiday time, if you're Christian and it's Christmas, oh, you say Merry Christmas, you say Happy Holidays. It's
Mm-hmm.
Ramadan. You can ask, well, how, like Sister Janae said, how do I greet you? What can I say? You can say Ramadan Mubarak. Simple. Happy Ramadan.
Yes.
Simple. It's simple. Don't overthink it. Simple. Keep it simple and safe. You know, it goes a
Yes.
long way. Something else you can do, like as you ask a question, you can say, oh, well, how long do you fast? So then that helps you see,
Mm-hmm.
well, what are the hours that a Muslim fasting person is fasting, because then that helps you understand the hours of fasting. And you can, hey, if you're at a workplace, you can avoid perhaps meetings and outings, food outings during that time if possible, team lunches during that time if possible.
Oh, we're
uh,
gonna have a working lunch. No, not right now. No
yeah, and
working
it's like,
lunch.
I'm fasting. I can't. Y'all just be, y'all sit there and eat. So like just
Mhm.
asking, being mindful of your question, and just be mindful how you ask the questions. Watch your tone. Watch your tone when you're asking questions. And then knowing the hours that the person is fasting, you can be flexible with, like, so kids, if you work at a school, you're a gym teacher, you're
Yes.
mindful that the students are fasting. So perhaps you'll have them do a less intense activity. Um, Perhaps adjusting an assignment because the student is lethargic, or um having incorporating breaks in between your lessons or in between your sessions, that can help you support someone who is fasting, because then you're being flexible with the work schedule, you're being flexible with the school schedule.
Yes.
You want to
Yes.
add anything to that, Janae?
And just really back to that idea of like it's individuals, but it also can impact the entire group, right? And so just being mindful as you're moving through things, and we talk about accommodations a lot, and doing things with modification, right? It can benefit everyone if you are doing and putting these things in place. It's not just for this time. Yes, we want to be mindful and we want to support the Muslims who are fasting, whether you're a colleague or students, but you are also going to do things that are beneficial for other students as well.
Right. And then also you definitely want to, and this is a huge, huge thing, don't feel bad or have somebody like, oh my God. Don't feel bad. Be happy for that. Be happy for us people, us who are fasting, because we
Yes,
want to
no
fast.
sympathy.
You understand? Like, don't have pity for us. Like, give space, no pity. Okay? So we don't need sympathy at all. We don't need constant reminders of how, oh my God, that
Oh
must be
man,
hard.
this
You
must be
know,
real hard for y'all. Ugh.
no. Actually, hey, I've been fasting since I was 11 years old. I'm not new
Alhamdulillah.
to this. I've been doing this for some time. It's never simple, but I'm used to, my body gets used to, because I've been doing it for so long. So be mindful when you are inquiring and asking questions, or you making statements. No pity. We need no pity. And teachers, be mindful that when you are talking and speaking with your students, in the workplace, speaking with colleagues or just anybody, be mindful that you're not speaking from a place of pity, because then that comes off the wrong way, because it feels like, and you may not even be thinking negatively about it, but the way you're speaking about fasting, it comes off in a negative manner.
Right. And I think we said it last week, it's like we are excited about this time, right? We are not like, oh, down in the dumps. Like we are running to Ramadan, right? There is so much excitement around this time that you don't want to have sympathy, specifically for your students. If you work in a place where students might be younger, or this could be their first time, right? The families have had conversations with their students. They know their expectations, right? So it's not a idea of you passing judgment on them, but just ask a question, right? Students will know. Last week, Jamila, you shared the story about the student and the teacher being concerned, that somebody said they
Mhm.
hadn't eaten all day, right? And so we want to just be mindful that when we're going into those conversations, the families have already talked about what the expectation is of the student. So go in with an open mind and not judgmental about what the student can and cannot do, because the family has already, rest assured, talked about it, and made their student aware of what is expected of them.
Right. And then educate yourself. So come into a live like this, to get information will be helpful, because then you're educating yourself, and then hey, you can share what you learned with your colleague or with your student. Like, it shows that you took initiative to learn something about the population you're instructing, or just to get a connection with a colleague, or even it could be somebody in administration. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking the initiative to learn something that is not your culture, and it's not it's not your cultural background at all. That just really, you never know what that can do for your students, for your colleagues. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes.
Now
And
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. Just that whole idea of the things to do, right? This is what we started. Those things to do, how you're going to show respect, how you're going to support, how you're going to be an ally, right? Those are those things that we're talking about right now. The do's, right? And it might seem simple to some people, like, oh, I didn't think about it in this way, but you all always want to just lead with intention of and purpose and being educated yourself, not to, be offensive or push anyone away.
Exactly, because you don't want to rub nobody the wrong way, because then you never know that person's day. Hey, they haven't been eating. You know how you get when you're hangry. Something might slip out their mouth, or a sharp, one liner might come out. They didn't mean to say it that way. It's just, hey, you said you. It's like, I feel like you coming at me right now, and
I
and it
just
was a
had to.
reaction. My reaction was just to say what I just said, and you
That's
know what?
right.
I'm not trying to break my fast, and it's like, also learning not to react to things in that manner, but like, just be mindful, because think of yourself when someone comes at you. I say talking sideways. You may not think you're talking sideways, but someone comes at you in a negative tone, your reaction is to be defensive. So be
Yeah.
mindful of your tone. So we talked about the do's. We talked about educating yourself. We talked about giving space, not pity. We talked about being flexible with school schedules, work schedules, being
Yeah.
respectful of fasting hours, and just acknowledging that it's Ramadan. Like I said, you can say Happy Ramadan, you can say Ramadan Mubarak. Just giving the greeting. Okay, so those are
Yes.
do's. Those are all the do's. So we have to go into, like we already said, the do's. Now that you know what to do, we have to talk about these common mistakes that people have been making. That Listen, we gotta talk about these don'ts, because when I tell
Talk
you,
about
this
them.
was such as like this was so therapeutic for me and Janae to just talk about this, because you have no idea
The
how
things that
annoying
come
some of
up.
these
Yes.
questions are. And some of
Yes.
them are very dumb. They are. They are.
Yeah.
And I don't like to use the word dumb, but like, just think, like, some of you really think we don't eat at all. You think we don't eat at
Ugh,
all for 30 days? Do you think we'll be still up here talking to you?
right.
Like,
That
you think we
part.
can just be
That
up here
part.
talking to you? Like, some of it is common sense. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I'm just laughing. Gigi is on. She said hello. The
Hi.
dopest dealer is here. Check on them. Wish them happy Ramadan. Philly's still in the house. So we got
All
some
right.
people in the room just
I'll
sharing
share
some love.
it.
All right, let's talk about these don'ts. You
Yes.
already said one. Now, y'all really think we won't eat all day? All month for 30 days. Do not assume, please don't assume that we're not eating all month. And then, do you want to start at the top, the number one?
Let's work our way up.
All right.
Let's work our way up. Let's work our way up.
So, assuming that all Muslims fast, right? So, you know that everyone is different, right? Some people are exempt from fasting, whether you are a pregnant individual, you are a young child, you have a medical condition that doesn't allow you to fast, right? There are exceptions that Muslims are not fasting. And so you want to be mindful of that and not look at someone who is, looking the part of a Muslim and just kind of, oh, you're not fasting? Oh, why you ain't fasting, right? So
All
some
in their business.
all it mind the business that pays you, right? Um,
Let's even talk about like the different when you don't fast.
that part, right? And so, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm not fasting. I'm breastfeeding. I'm not fasting.
I
I
take
have a medical
medication.
I have a medical condition that I have to take medication every single day.
I'm
I'm
not
not
fasting.
fasting. I'm not fasting.
If
Um,
you are fasting, and let's say you really get sick, you stop fasting. You
yes,
stop fasting. It's not meant to be a hardship. You stop fasting. However, you make up the day that you missed. That's all. We make a days up. Now, people who can't fast, let's say, you're pregnant, like Janae said, or you have a medical condition, they feed a they feed a fasting person, or they feed
Yes,
someone in need to make up the day that they cannot fast.
that's it.
That's all.
And when you think about, just the overall idea of the reality of most Muslims who are fasting, like I said, we're running to this idea of Ramadan. So if I am pregnant or if I'm breastfeeding or if I am ill and I had to take medication, I'm feeling a kind of way like, man, I want to participate in Ramadan with my sisters and brothers, right? And so just being mindful of those conversations as you are, passing judgment or looking or, kind of, but again, I say lead with inquiry, lead with inquiry.
Yes. So, like what Sister Janae said, someone may not be fasting. Oh, also here's another one. If it's your time of the month, women, if it's your period, you are not
Yes,
fasting. Okay.
yes,
So there are a lot of you may see someone eating or drinking. Look, you could still give them Ramadan Mubarak. They'll say Ramadan Mubarak back. They'll say Ramadan Kareem back, but leave it at that because you don't know. Her cycle could be on. He could have a medical condition. He could be taking medication. She could be pregnant. You have no idea why
yes,
that person is not fasting, and it's not your business to inquire
yes,
or to know.
yes,
Leave it at that.
yes.
Leave it. It is not for
Leave it
you to
all.
know.
It is not, it is none of yours.
It is none of your business. Okay? None, as some people say. It's none of your business.
Let's keep it going, right? This idea of like, oh, I'm having lunch and oh girl, just take a bite of this. I know
Mm.
you probably hungry. Here, just take a piece of this cake or just take a bite of this sandwich. I know you hungry. What time you say the sun go down? What time? And by the way, this year, this fast is, I mean, for those of us who've been fasting a while, right? This fast right here is alhamdulillah, right? We those August, a summer fast is very different from a March fast, right? An August fast is
Mhm.
very different. But just pressuring a Muslim to say, hey, just take a bite of this, or and just trying to temptation, right? Fasting is an act of worship and devotion, and breaking it intentionally is really, really going to stress somebody out. So
Mhm.
don't be that one, that friend who's saying, "Oh, this won't hurt," right? Support your friend, support your colleague. You know, hey, I'm gonna close your door. Hey, I'm gonna lock your door for you so nobody is disturbing you. Those things, right? Because we are intentionally in worship. We are intentionally being devoted to this act of worship for these 30 days, and so how we show up for ourselves is evident, and then those people around us. So don't be that one.
Don't be her, don't be him. Okay? All right. Now, here's another one. Do not make about about food, comments about food. Damn well the person is fasting, or
You know what?
you might get in front of them and be like, "Oh, girl, this is good," or you want to drink some water. Like when I tell you guys this has happened. That is so rude. Saying things like, "I bet you're starving." Ooh,
It just burns you up.
man, I'm glad I ain't Muslim. like like how rude
How
is
rude.
that? How rude is
How
that?
rude.
And you're like basically tempting the person, like, and perhaps they could be thirsty. It could be a rough time for them. They could be new to fasting, or hey, they just started fasting again. And you come with your rude comments, making
You're
comments about
nonsense.
food. You know what I mean? Not caring that it is that they are fasting, that it is Ramadan. Do not do that.
Don't do it.
One, it's rude, and two, you're tempting the person to kind of like break their even though you could be that test for them, it's rude to do that.
Yes.
It is so rude to do that. Or you because you're doing it on purpose. You know that that person is fasting. You know they can't eat right now. You know they can't drink right now, and you are just like, oh, whatever. You're just like, oh, whatever, okay, and you just want to nitpick, and you like to be that. You just want to poke that bear. Don't do that.
You, you could poke the bear if you want to.
Dad, do that because you never know. You could make that person break their fast because they've been trying to go and they break their fast, and they might say something to you that they shouldn't say, and they don't
Hmm.
broke their fast because they're not even they don't came out of character and everything. Ain't even eating, not even thinking about eating. They just gotta say something to you because they don't like what you're doing.
That part. That part. And now you got me in the bad space because I've been trying to be good all day, and then here you come with this
Here
nonsense.
you come.
So
Here
now
you
I'm
come.
so now I'm double mad at you.
Stay over there and just let me fast. And another one is assuming fasting is just about food. Fasting is not just about food. You're not just Ramadan is a very spiritual time because it really focuses on self-discipline. Like, and community is not just about abstaining from food. Like, yes, we abstain from food. This helps to remind us to be grateful for what we do have because there's many less fortunate people who don't have any food to eat. It reminds us to be grateful for what we do have. It's also we're working on ourselves. So we're fasting from any bad habits. We want to stop bad habits. We want to stop things that are distractions for us. So it's not just about refraining from food, it's refraining from things that are a distraction for you spiritually. So it could be in your professional world, in your personal life, whatever is a distraction for you. Ramadan is a perfect time. Fasting is a perfect time to remove that from your life. So it's not just about food. It is about self-reflection. It's about community, how we can support each other, how we can come together, and how can I leave Ramadan better than what I came? Okay. How can I be my best self? How can I be my ultimate self? And then continue to be my ultimate self when Ramadan is over. So continue to move as if it is still Ramadan.
Because from this one Ramadan, I have shown self discipline for 30 days. So this is my jump start in the change that I want to see in myself. This is my jump start in all of the things that I want to be my very best at. This is what I have achieved in this time. And so I'm going all in. Right. And so, how am I showing up for myself is something that we often think about, and making sure that, like, we're showing everyone that about ourselves.
You want to go into the number one?
Give, give them a drum roll, please.
This is the number one. Do not say this to us. Go ahead,
Please,
Janae.
just please don't even ask. Y'all can't even have water.
Not even water?
Not even
It's so
water.
bad. People have this on t-shirts now.
Not even water.
Not water? Oh
Nah.
my God. And then you think we can't drink any water. That's the other thing. You think we can't drink nothing.
They said, "Oh my goodness, for 30 days, no water."
And I'm just like, I'm tired of it. Yes, not even water. So, yes, not even water. This is the most asked question, and this is the most annoying question. Yes, it
Most
is.
eggs,
So,
most
if we're
annoying.
refraining from food and drink, water is a drink. So, yes, not even water during the fasting hour. So, whenever you wake up, so you can have water at sahur, which is the uh before dawn meal. And then once dawn comes in, once the Fajr prayer comes in, you stop eating and drinking. You don't eat and drink again until Maghrib, which is the sundown prayer. That's when you can eat and drink again. In between that time, There's no food, there's no drinking, and there is, you're refraining from those bad habits.
Right.
Please don't ask us this again,
Oh
please.
my gosh, please.
We've already cleared it out. Don't ask us this again.
And I feel like we said it was number one. And for some people, it might seem like, oh my goodness, you really have to address it. But we really have to address it, like Jamila said, because so very much that it's on a shirt. Like, honestly, like, it's a fast. Don't ask that. No.
It's a fast. We're fasting. So, yeah. So, we've gone into the do's, we've gone into the don'ts thoroughly.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about how to navigate social situations respectfully. All right, Janae, want to go into that?
So I'll go for teachers at school, right?
All right.
Teachers in school. So just allow your students to sit out of those physical activities, those physical demanding activities. So you have a physical fitness test set up during PE. Students are fasting, right? Let them sit out of that, right? And when I talked earlier about making accommodations and modifications that would help everybody, maybe this is a portion where now you're looking at how you can have health class and your physical fitness stuff doesn't have to happen right this moment, right? Thinking about those rehearsals and things that are demanding. So you're performing a play and you want them to do this stuff that's demanding right before iftar, right before they break their fast, right? So allow those students who are fasting to sit out, allow them to show up in another way for the team, for the classroom, for those people who they are working with, right? Because we know it's about building character and all of those things. And most students are not going to want to step out or, look different. But you, as the educator, you, as the teacher and the school administrator, going forward to say, hey, let's keep in mind that this student might be fasting. And so we want to lay these things out. So they're not coming to have to ask you, but that is something you've already thought about, right? That's like, wow, they see me. They know that this is something I desire to, be really good with this month. And so they're supporting me in that.
Right. And then, like Sister Janae offered, she said, the alternatives. Now, also, excuse me, she said about sitting out those physical activities, because you're being mindful that during gym. The same can apply at work and at school. So, like offering alternative activities during lunch breaks, being mindful of when you schedule things. We've said this so many times, to be mindful of those who are fasting. So again,
Yes.
if you know the fasting hours, let's not schedule a work lunch. Let's not schedule, oh, you might have a school wide some type of activity and it involves food or eating or drinking or something like that. And then you have students who are being left out because they can't partake in it because they are fasting. Just being mindful of that, being mindful of, hey, I know you guys break fast at this time. Maybe let's do a virtual meeting versus we have to be in person. So that way, hey, your camera can be off. You may be breaking your fast, having iftar, but you can still
Right.
partake in the meeting because
That's
it is
right.
virtual. So be mindful of how you can have alternative activities um, for students so they don't want to go to the lunchroom. Hey, I have a quiet space for them. They could work on an assignment. They could take the time to read. They could take the time. Hey, you may need help in the office with something. They could help you in the office. So have those different alternatives readily available for them. And then also having that meditation space for them, a clean, quiet meditation space, whether at work, in the workplace, or at school, where they could go uh, those who want to pray can pray. Hey, you may have students who are not fasting. They may say, hey, I just need to meditate for a moment or two. And they have that clean and quiet space to do so. So having those alternative activities and spaces.
Right. I just love when we talk about having those spaces and you say clean, right? Free of clutter, right? Because it means something. If I'm
Mhm.
meditating, but I'm going in this corner that got all these boxes piled up, like let's make it make sense, right? I want to be in a space where I can really just woosah, right? And have that moment. So thinking about those events that might come up, right? We know sporting events is happening this month specifically. We're going into March Madness, and you might have some athletes and things like that. But things that you can kind of maneuver around the time where iftar is happening, and informing your guests about the schedule of things that might be happening. So if you have a list of things happening, but you're going to have a break at this specific time, think about that, right? Is your break going to be at the time where they can then break and say, hey, I can have my iftar right now, right? Because they still want to be a part of what you're doing in that gathering and all of that. Like, be considerate. The accommodation is there, right? How do you make it make sense for everybody involved? Specifically, in those places where you don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I can't do this. I want to show up in this way and I'm Muslim, right? And so how do you make it so that they're not coming to ask you for something, but that you've already made the accommodation for them? Like, to me, that speaks so loud, when you already think about them before they have to come and talk to you. And then just it rings true in your heart when somebody can show up for you like that.
Right. And then also this helps some of your students and your staff to um what's the word I want to say, advocate for them, start to advocate. They see what you're doing for them, and it's like, hey, hey, if I'm in a space and I don't have this, let me speak up for myself so that I can get these particular things.
Yes.
Oh, and Dusty said, great points being made. Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Dusty.
Dusty. So yes, like you definitely want to this even because by you just being accommodating, you are helping your students and even your staff to see how they should be treated. There's space is space for everybody where they are. And if they go with, like I said, if they step into another work environment or another school, they can say, well, listen, at my old school, we did this from
That's right.
Ramadan. I had this made available to me. And just it can help them advocate for what it is they want and need, for themselves. And then another one is being an ally, for them. And we're going to go into more and more detail with allies on next week's episode. But like, if you hear someone saying something, saying jokes about Ramadan or comments about Ramadan, we already talked about the don'ts. You hear somebody doing the don'ts, you can just step in and say, like, hey, you need to stop. Or actually, that's not even what Ramadan is. You know
Right.
what I mean? You can speak up on their behalf. They may not even be there, but the fact that you spoke up for them, that's you actually being an ally, speaking up even when the person is not there.
Yeah.
That's just as important than when the person is there. So actually being an ally, like how do I like basically you're just supporting that person who is fasting or those people who are fasting, who are fasting. That's just like, your brother or your sister or your best friend. That's like if you hear somebody talking about them, you step in and say whatever you need to say to squash it. Do the same thing for your colleagues, for your students, for your friends. If somebody is joking about Ramadan or somebody's saying something that's not even true, not even the facts is false, and
Right.
the truth, you can speak up for them.
Right.
And this helps people even learn because you're spreading proper information about Ramadan versus having them to continue to repeat whatever myths or false information that they have heard. All right. So we've talked about having alternatives, activities, and spaces, um, allowing students to sit out physical demanding activities for like um, gym and things like that,
The
gatherings,
rehearsals, right? And
right?
those gatherings that we might have, hosting the events, making sure you're giving a rundown of, hey, this is 2 hours, but we're going to take a break around this time, right? So that if I'm Muslim, I can say, oh, I can break my fast. I can step away during this time. It's not going to impact what's happening here at this gathering.
Right. And then also the importance of being an ally. So yeah, so those are like just, we told you what you should do, what you should not do and should not say. And we even talked about how to navigate the social situations, so we've given you some tips, and let's just do a recap of the do's.
Yes.
Janae, let's definitely do a
Please do
recap
these
of the
things.
do's.
Please
So
do these things
so
so
do
that
these.
we are on a positive note, right?
Yes.
Acknowledge and be supportive, right? A simple Ramadan Mubarak or Happy Ramadan, it goes a long way, right? We really say, oh, they tapped into what I'm doing to make us feel good.
You want to
Uh,
respect the fasting hours. Like if you're not sure, ask. Just say, hey, how long are you fasting? Or when do you start fasting? And then you can say, oh, when does it end? Be respectful with your tone, and then be mindful of the fasting hours. So don't have them do something so strenuous, or a food heavy meeting, or a work lunch, or something, where it's going to be snacks and all that stuff.
right.
Be mindful of that.
Be mindful of it. And with being mindful comes being flexible, right? With work schedules and school schedules, just acknowledging that students and families, we are doing things at night of acts of worship, and just identifying that, right? I might need to, you know, step in for a moment. I might need to adjust a deadline or a shift or something like that. So just being flexible about how students, teachers, colleagues are showing up, and just giving that space for them, and to remember to give that space but not pity, right? We're not saying to have sympathy for that. We're saying just to be flexible in that and support whatever the needs are that they're having.
Exactly, exactly. And then just to go off of that, like, if you have a student who is fasting, like, don't assume, like, oh my God, like I told you, the teacher was with that student, and and I was about to say something to that student, like, why don't you give more context to let her know you're fasting? But it was just like, had I not, me not being Muslim and didn't know, hey, she could
Right.
have went to the office and went to the nurse and said, oh my God, this kid, he didn't eat. And they could be thinking that his mom is not feeding him, or his parents not, and that's
Yep.
not even the case at all. So
At
just
all.
me being Muslim, and I've been fasting, like I said, since I was 11, I was able to say, hey, hold on. It is Ramadan. He is fasting. He wants to fast. He probably was up praying late last night. Send him to the bathroom to put water on his face and rinse his mouth out, and send him back to class. And he wants to, I made sure to say he wants to fast. Okay. So be mindful of that. Don't do that. Oh my God, clutch my pearls and oh my God.
It
Like
could go
you have,
another way. It could go another way. And
right.
you want to encourage specifically our young people who are so excited. For some of them, this is their first time. They're coming of age. It's like, rites of passage, right? It's like this thing is happening for me. And so just again, like I said, lead with inquiry and listen, right, to what's being said, and just ask questions. Because they might just say, I just need to stand up for a minute. Can I just take a walk? They will advocate for themselves.
Do not assume. Do not assume. Please don't. Okay. Um, we said, be flexible with work and school schedules. We talked about that. Give space, not pity. We don't want your pity, and we don't need your pity. Okay. Give space. Hey, just give space.
And then educate yourself and others, right? Ask those questions, ask clarifying questions, listen to a live, listen to a podcast. During this season of Ramadan, there are a lot of conversations happening to help you to inform yourself. So you can listen to the conversations. You can find some articles to read online. There are tons of things that are happening, but you don't have to go into this space just making those assumptions and having a guess, right? You can show up and you can be educated.
All right. Now we already told y'all the don'ts. So don't say not even water. We're not fasting. We're fasting from food and drink. And also, um, any bad habits. So check that off your list. Don't say it no more. And Sister Janae, she said a good one. Don't assume everyone who is Muslim is fasting. Someone could be pregnant,
Yeah.
someone could be breastfeeding, someone could have a medical condition, and or they are on medication and they can't fast. Someone could be on their period and they can't fast, or they are sick and they can't fast. So it's none of your business. So don't even inquire, like, oh my God, you not fasting? Don't. Sisters don't do that to each other. Brothers don't approach a sister like, What, you ain't fasting? Or don't say this. Oh, your period on. It's none of your business if it is or if it's not. Do not approach.
Do not.
Don't do that. Don't do that at all. Don't do it at all, okay? If they are, it's between them and Allah. It's between them and God.
That's
Okay?
it. That's it.
It's not our business.
That's it, and that's all. That's it.
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
We said no making jokes. It's not funny. It's nothing funny about that. No pressuring Muslims. Like, oh, just have a bite. Ain't nobody gonna know. You can go ahead and do it. Don't do that. Don't. That's like somebody peer pressuring you to go do something you don't want to do.
Right.
You don't like how that feels, so don't even do that. Okay? Don't.
And the idea that, and you said it a little bit ago, but just assuming that fasting is just about food, right? It's about spirituality, self-discipline, leaving off those bad habits, so we are abstaining from food and drink, but not just food and drink, right? Those other things that don't show the very best versions of ourselves, we're abstaining for those things as well and showing up as our best selves, our best version of ourselves. So don't.
All right. So don't. And we're not going to cover this no more. Okay? This is it. This is it.
That's it.
All right, so let's open the floor up for some questions. What questions do you have? What questions do you guys have? About fasting, because Ramadan is coming this week, inshallah. It should be maybe Friday or Saturday. Yeah. It is coming. And we have one more episode of Ramadan Real Talk. Next Monday is going to be the last one. Went by so fast. But guys, what questions do you have? Drop them in the comment section. And don't be scared at all, because you DM everything else. You comment on everything else. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to ask a question.
Please don't.
All right, we're gonna give you time to type in your questions.
Yep, I'm checking IG over here.
Yeah, I'm checking my phone to see anybody ask questions. Any questions? Okay. I'm just checking my phone too. Let me check over on Instagram, because I forget sometimes to go back to flipping my other to go to my other tab and see and scroll up. I did that one time. I forgot to scroll.
Oh my goodness.
I forgot to scroll. Okay. It looked like somebody is
typing something.
Yeah. Because sometimes, like, the question don't come to you till after the fact. You be like, oh shoot, I should have asked this. But yeah, take your time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Because that's what one of my friends was doing. It was like towards the end, and she's sending all these questions. I was like, hold on.
Hold up.
Okay.
All right. So somebody asked about creating incentives outside of food. So what ideas could I do as an incentive? Because normally my prizes in my classroom are food. So what other things can I do for students as an incentive outside of food during the month of Ramadan?
Oh, that's nice. Maybe something where it's like a time on something. It could be time on, I've been out the classroom for a little bit, so it could be game time on something, an educational game that they like. It could be, oh hey, I know you don't do homework passes. I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it, but like it could be a pass to do something.
Right.
In the class.
A pass to do something. Or you can, so it could be homework, not a homework pass, but extended time to turn in the homework. So that the deadline might be pushed back a little bit. Something like an extra bathroom pass that you might want to give as an incentive, because if I'm fasting, I might need to get up and move around. So it's a hallway/bathroom pass, right? Like those incentives, because you're working hard all the time. and somebody else might be getting, oh, DoorDash on the teacher today, but I am fasting, and so I want these things. Specifically, if you're in a space where students might be a little younger, so let's just say you did a DoorDash order. What was your Amazon order, right? Did you order some fidgets, the little squishmallows that kids like? Maybe ask them, is there a specific trivia game that they want? Like there are some Islamic trivia games and things like that. So like have those things in your incentive bucket already to say, hey, I have this instead for you. And just being cognizant that students are going to be excited that, like, again, you see me and I'm doing this thing. And so you have something special for me. Oh, she know I'm not door dashing, but here's my Uber Eats gift card for later. So when I break my fast,
Right.
I
Because
got
you
this
can,
gift card.
and you just got blessings for feeding a fasting person. So there you go. You got blessings too. So you can still do that, but hey, you could do it in the form of a gift card. Say, hey, I know you're fasting, but here's something you can have for iftar. Or hey, they may say, hey, I'm gonna use it for suhoor. Hey, it could
Either
be a
one.
place that's open. It could be a place that's open, because even during suhoor, because there have been times like me and some friends, like me and I remember it was my friend Sophia, Naima. It was Sophia, Naima, myself, Atia. It was what's the other sister? It was a couple, Sharice. It was a couple of us. We just went out for suhoor.
That's
We
right.
went to a 24-hour diner for
Yes,
suhoor, and it was just something
I
different
love it.
because sometimes you go out for
Iftar.
iftar. It was like, let's go out for suhoor, and it was just something different, and it turned into something we was just doing every Ramadan. All
Yes, I
right.
love it. I
So I
love
got
it.
some more questions. So I have
Got it.
someone, they asked a question about like also, how can you actually got a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
So one, the first question was, when you're fasting, you want to make sure you're in wudu and things like that, so that way you can go ahead and pray. So someone was asking, well, how can you break your wudu? And then also, like, how can you break your fast? Like sometimes, like some people think, oh, you're just eating, that can break, like, yes, that can break your fast. But this is a good question because sometimes some people think, well, if I ate something that automatically broke my fast. If you did not do it intentionally, like on purpose, because sometimes you
Right.
forget, like there can be times that you forget that you are fasting and you're
That's
not
right.
doing it on purpose. So it's like a mercy that Allah gave you. So continue your fast after that. It was like, okay, that was a sip of water you needed. Continue to
Right.
fast, or you accidentally ate something. Continue to fast after because you did not do it
On
intentionally.
purpose. Yes.
That's different than intentionally breaking your fast. You have to make that whole day over. You have to make that whole day up. But like something that could cause you to break your fast is, like I said, intentionally eating something, intentionally drinking something, and you're just exhibiting bad behavior. Like you're supposed to be on your best of that in bad behavior. You cursing somebody out, you're
Right.
arguing with somebody, you fighting, excuse me, you're fighting somebody. You know what I mean? Those things can cause you to break your fast, and you
That's
have to
right.
make that day, or because you've become angry. You're like, it's like you are not in a state of fasting anymore. Your mindset is not even there anymore. So this is why we always say, you're working on being your best self, and and working on those bad habits and things that you have, because you want to be your best self. When you go back to those bad habits and you're fighting, you're cursing, you're doing all that stuff.
Right.
Let's say you smoking or you drink, you broke your fast.
Sure
You
did.
broke your fast. You have to do that over. Okay, you got to make that day up. Now, when it comes to your wudu, meaning in wudu, that's when you cleanse yourself for salat.
Yeah.
Um, you can't now, if you pass gas, you broke your fast. If excuse me, your
It will
wudu is
do.
broken.
It will
Your
do.
wudu is broken. If you have sex, your wudu is broken. If you what else breaks your wudu? I know if you go to sleep, like a deep
Yes.
sleep, or
A deep sleep.
a
A
deep
deep
sleep,
sleep.
that breaks your wudu, and you just have to make your wudu over. That's
Yes.
all. There have been times like, hey, you know how after you make wudu, you know how you you put lotion on your hands, and then you might pass gas, or you gotta go to the bathroom again. You be like, dang,
Oh
I
man.
just moisturize myself. But like, those are things that will break your wudu. And if you break your wudu, you just make your wudu over. That's all. You just make your wudu over.
Because it's
Um,
important once you get ready to go pray that you're in wudu, right? Those things have to be it.
right. So those are things like you have to do. Hold on. They asked some other question. So, and sorry, I had to go back to the text to see
No,
the
that's
question.
I keep checking my phone. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. And then how do you do it? So again, if you break your wudu, you just make your wudu over. And you know how to make your wudu. You're in the bath. You're not taking a bath. So you don't gotta have water everywhere, but you're using the water to cleanse yourself for, wudu. You do your hands, each hand 3 times. You do your mouth and your nose at the same time. You spit in the water out. You do it 3 times. Water on your face 3 times. You from your wrist up to your elbow 3 times each arm. Then 1 time through your hair. You go in your ears, behind your ears, and then you're doing your right foot first. With your feet 3 times. You want to go between your toes, and then you do your left foot 3 times. So that's you making your wudu. If you ever break your wudu, you just got to make your wudu over. Now, if you intentionally break your fast, or you broke it because you was just spazzing out, you got to make that day up, and you just got to make it up before the next Ramadan comes.
Right.
Okay. You got a question, Janae?
No. Nope. I
Okay.
checked. I didn't. Mm-mm.
All right. I got 2 more questions.
No, that's good because people are
um,
asking. They probably don't
So
want to eat. So
here's a
I'm good.
question. We accommodate students with prayer spaces during the month of Ramadan. How can we continue to accommodate Muslim students after Ramadan? Because Lord prayer, it's still
It's
Lord
still
prayer.
for
Even
another
when Ramadan is
right.
over, Lord prayer is still during the school time. That's a great question. And thank you for asking that. You want to take
Yes.
that one, Janae?
Yes, and so having these practices built into the school time is something very beneficial. And so once that space is clean and it's a prayer room or meditation space, having that space available where students who still want to go, having a pass that's pre-made for students to travel to that prayer time is very important. We know that there is going to be time during Ramadan where the masses are coming, right? And so it is our hope that everybody continues on that same path, but you want to make sure that the space is still a clean space. The space is still clutter free. The space is still somewhere where I can go to, and it's a space for everybody. So, yes, we want to have that space for our Muslims to go to, knowing that right now we're in daylight savings time. So, when we spring forward with that time will change a little bit, right? So, if that space is something that's used for multiple things, right? During Ramadan, you say, oh, we got this space for Ramadan, but after that, if you want to keep the space sacred, put some signage up on the door. Make sure the conversation is, hey, you have specific passes for your students to say, hey, this student is going to prayer at this time, so that it takes the guesswork out of it for anybody who might be stopping them, or a student who might think, oh, I can't go do it right now. Not right now, son. That I can't do it. So, you want to think about that.
Yeah, and then also, like, if you have a student, you can even just go to the school and talk with the staff to let them know, like, hey, my child, needs to pray. What does the space look like? Can I see it? Things like that. Because then the school has to, because then on the school side, they just got to make sure they have an adult who can see, oversee that, because you don't want the students being somewhere unintended by an adult. And then also, they can't make your child pray. You know what I mean? They can't make your child go. So, your child knowing that, making sure they don't take advantage of that, and making sure, hey, they go, they pray, and then they go back to class, to do what they need to do. So that was a great question, because yes, Dora is not just during Ramadan, it
Right.
is during the school day. So like, even for me working, like, I may have a meeting during Dora time. So like, I would make Dora when I would before my lunch or after my lunch,
Yeah. Mm,
because I can close my door, pull my curtain down. And I had students that would come to my office to pray, and I had colleagues who would come into my office to pray. So
right.
like, just making sure we had that, you have that space. Um, someone asked, what about exercising during Ramadan and tips? So some people will stop exercising during Ramadan because they're like, okay, I'm exerting too much energy. I continue to work out. However, I'm not pushing as hard because I know I don't have all
I hate all of it.
I don't
Right.
have any energy. I don't have all that nourishment in my body because I haven't eaten since this morning. However,
That's
I
right.
still go to the gym. I still go to my class. I still go to cycling class. I still go. I don't go, and it's me and it's another Muslim sister in my cycling class. Our instructor know that we Muslim. She know, and she watch us. She'll say, "Listen, if you are feeling like she's like,
Not
listen,
on my
you
watch.
feel sick, you feel lightheaded, just stop." But like
Yeah.
I do still go to the gym.
Right.
I'm just I'll say just listen to your body. If you feel like you can't do it that particular day, then don't do it.
That's
You
right.
know, but if you feel like,
And
hey,
some
you
people
got it,
modify the times,
you got
right?
it. And yeah, some people
Right.
modify the time. Some people will go to the gym before it's iftar time, like maybe an hour before iftar, so that way when you're done working out, you can go ahead and drink your water or eat.
Yeah.
So some people might change their schedule to align when it's iftar time. So again, once an hour before iftar or a half hour before iftar, hey, I know once I'm done, it's iftar. I can drink, I can eat. That
I
is
can do what
something
I
that
need
you
to
can
do
do. Yeah, that is something that you can do for yourself. But then also some people might change the time also, like, and they'll work out after iftar.
after iftar. Right.
They may change, just change the schedule because for them, they're like, listen, I need something in my body before I work out, and I'm gonna work out after iftar. I know daggone well after iftar, I'm going to sleep. I'm tired.
Honey, listen
I
to a
can't
nice
work
little
out
lecture.
after iftar. So
Listen to a nice lecture after I
right.
eat and
So
relax. Yeah.
I still go to the gym, but I don't go as hard. And something that you can do again is change the time that you do work out. That can help you. So doing it closer to iftar time, that can help you a lot.
These are
Okay. I think this
good
is the
questions. Good
yeah,
questions. They
these are
got us
great
thinking good
questions.
things. Yeah.
Last question is music bad during Ramadan? You want to take that, Janae?
Nope.
Okay, okay. Okay, so during Ramadan, again, you want to refrain from any distractions or anything, or and it depends on what you're listening to.
That's it.
You know what I
That's why
mean?
I
What
said
are you
nope, because
listening
it's
to?
all subject. That's why
Because
I'm
it could be like for
yeah.
me, I listen to instrumental. I love jazz music. I listen to instrumental. If I'm not listening to instrumental, I'm listening to Quran in the car, especially during Ramadan, because I don't want to be saying certain things I should not be saying, and that could cause me to break my fast. And I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So it you have to be mindful what you are listening to. If you have to listen to something that's going to uplift you. Listen to something that has a message for you. You can listen to Quran. Some people listen to lectures. Some people listen to jazama. Some people listen to, like I said, lectures or things like that. Some people may listen to instrumental music because they're like, listen, I normally listen to music while I'm driving with lyrics. You know what? Okay, I'm not going to listen to music with lyrics. I'm going to listen to some instrumental. It could be classical, it could be jazz, it could be beats, something. It could just be something different without the
Right.
lyrics. Because, hey, this could be your first time fasting and you're trying to wean yourself off of a habit that you had of constantly turning on the radio and constantly,
Yes.
doing something. Hey, you're taking your baby steps to do that. You know what I mean? So, Allah knows best.
Allah knows best.
Um,
And I think also that goes ties back into the part of like why some people stay away from working out or going to the gym, right? Because some of the music that you might work out to is like,
right.
right. So that it kind of ties back in, but
Yeah.
I kind of step back from that question because it can be subjective and some people are like, it's touchy, but it's like, Allah knows best, Allah knows your heart, and your intentions and your best intentions is really what matters. And so as you are going along on this journey or as you're watching somebody fast, again, lead with inquiry, understanding, not sympathy. Oh man, you can't even listen to that. That's not it, right? We're really talking
Mhm.
about how to become the best versions of ourselves and what we're feeding ourselves spiritually. So some of them
Right.
lyrics is not feeding us what we need
Yeah, some of
spiritually.
those lyrics is not feeding you spiritually at all. And then how can you stay on schedule with like your fasting or even your work, whatever you're doing? Being in community with other people who are fasting.
Yes.
That is definitely important, that you have community, you have other people that you can lean on. Hey, you guys can go to Sahur together, you guys can, oh, let's go to Taraweeh together. And
Yes.
Taraweeh is the additional prayers that you can make during Ramadan. Hey, let's go to Taraweeh together. But then also be mindful of your work schedule. Like for me, I knew that, hey, I'm working Monday through Friday. It's hard for me to do Taraweeh because I got to get up early to go to work the next day. So you know what? I'm going to do Taraweeh on Fridays and Saturdays because I know I can sleep in the
The
next day.
next day.
So
That's
like
right.
give yourself grace during Ramadan too. Don't think you gotta do everything. And I know you're trying to get all the benefits that you can, but also listen to your body. Because if you need rest, you need rest. Go to sleep.
That's
It's
right.
okay. Go to sleep. It's okay. Or hey, pray Taraweeh at home. You
Mm-hmm.
can do that too. So, but also being in community with other people who are fasting, because they can help be reminders for you. Because one day you could be slipping and they just pull your coattail, and that's
So
what you
you're right
need
with them
to
already.
keep
Right.
going. Right. That's what you need to keep going. Also, you can have like a calendar. You can have your calendar and say Ramadan started today. Count 29 or 30 days later. You know when the Eid is going to come. So you can, hey, already request off
Right.
from work. If you are working, you can already request off those days you need off from work, because hey, it started this day. You know we're fasting 29 or 30 days.
That's
So
it.
there. So, but the biggest thing I would say is be in community. And if you don't have a masjid home, meaning you don't have that masjid you always go to, you can utilize this time during Ramadan. Hey, I'm gonna go to this masjid this day. I might go to that masjid another day, and find your masjid home. A masjid that feels like home for you, because the masjid that feels home for me may not feel home for
Good home
you.
for
So find the masjid where you feel comfortable, where hey, I feel at home here. I feel safe here.
you.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? And it doesn't feel like I'm being judged. It doesn't feel like, I feel like, hey, yeah, I can learn
I
here.
can learn here. I can grow here. I can, make that my knowledge grow and really, really, embrace it. And the people that you're around, all of that stuff matters.
Right. It does. It does. All of those questions matter. So let me make sure I got all the questions.
Yeah, those are really, really good questions.
Yes, these were great questions. Thank
Checking-
you.
I'm checking again.
Let me just double check.
You see me, I'm checking on myself.
These were great questions. Okay, I think I hit all the ones that were sent to me.
Yep, nothing on my end. We're good.
Okay, let me just double check. Yeah. Okay. I said they was like you covered everything. I don't think I have anything else I want to ask. So, um, yep, I think we hit all of the questions. So remember, our takeaway from today was respect the fasting experience. So avoid unnecessary questions and comments.
Yeah.
Watch your tone when you're asking. If you see, don't assume everybody is fasting. Mind the business that pays you. Okay.
Oh my goodness, please.
Be considerate. Adjust the work, school schedules. Educate yourself so you can support your colleagues, you can support your students. Now, next week is going to be our last episode. Oh my
Can you
gosh,
believe it?
it's
That
already
went fast. Like we
been
started preparing this. Can you
we
believe it?
started first of all, we talked about this in December,
Yes.
and then we started
Yes.
planning in the beginning of January.
January. Yeah.
Yo, for real.
And the
But
time just goes so fast. It's
time
like,
just goes by so fast. So
yeah,
next week, March the 3rd, that's gonna be our final Ramadan Real Talk. We will inshallah be in the month of Ramadan.
and so
So that episode we're gonna focus on cultural awareness and the power of community during Ramadan.
yeah.
How fitting. I just got finished telling you that community is important. And we have something special for you guys that we are dropping. Because we've been building you up. We've been educating you, giving you tips and building you. So, of course, we got to give you guys something, especially you guys in schools and the work. We got to have something for you to support your staff, to support your students. So, we're going to have a couple things for you guys. Okay. So, make sure you tune in next week, next Monday, March the 3rd, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. This will be our final Ramadan
Final
Real
one.
Talk.
I can't believe it'll be our final one.
I
Thank you
know.
for everybody who tuned in tonight, or if you've checked in with us the other 2 Mondays, we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you on March 3rd, Cultural Awareness and the Power of Community. Talked about community heavy, and we're going to have a good little drop for you. Don't worry. So be in your seat so we can give you the drop that we have.
All right. We will see you all next Monday. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.